It's your girl Nicole Mosely, aka Operation Hot Mama. I'm here in Panera Bread, working just for a few more minutes. And while I was here, I've been thinking a lot about this saying that I heard Tony Rush do on a call a couple weeks ago. No, not a couple weeks ago, some months ago, regarding who are you being while you're doing. And essentially, what he was saying is if you're being a broke person while you're doing actions to get rich, then essentially you'll still be a broke person. And he was pretty much talking about, you know, your action, how you go about doing your actions. So there is a scripture in the Bible that says willing and obedient. And it's kind of like when I ask my daughter to do something and she does it, being obedient because she's my daughter, but she says, and I always say, be willing and obedient. Just don't be obedient, but you need to be willing, which deals with who she's being while she's doing it. So it'd be different if I said, Madison, can you go and take the trash out? And she says, yes, mommy. And then she just goes and do it. But if I ask her the exact same question, Madison, can you go take the trash out? And she says, okay, mommy. So she is still being obedient, but who she's being while she's doing it. And it really deals with your disposition and your personality at that particular point. And my point is that how do I bring this to the forefront to where I am today? About 2 weeks ago, my husband gave me some feedback, and he says, I don't know if you realize it, but lately you've been extremely impatient. And it's kind of like when we ask you something, you're like, oh, it's still going. Oh, when we ask you something, it's like, how dare you ask me this stupid question? He was like, you're doing it to me and you're doing it to Madison. And so I just said, thank you for the feedback, and I'll be mindful of that. So as I continue to think about the feedback that he gave me, I realized what he was saying is Nicole, I know you're doing a lot of things, but the person that you're being while you're doing those things is is unpleasant. So don't let your good be spoke of as evil. So while I was doing all these things of, any whatever I was doing for my family, I was being impatient, and that me being impatient was at the forefront of his mind versus all the things that I was doing. So really, it was kind of like my my impatience was offsetting my good deed, I should say, for lack of better words. And when I realized that, yes, Nicole, you can't be an impatient person doing all these things for your household, because in all actuality, it's better that you don't even do it. If you're going to be impatient, if you're going to be like, have this posture of, I cannot believe that you asked me that, all the things I've done for the household for the day or anything like that. So I wanted to actually just, be an open book of me and being very transparent as I work on the various things that, I am doing throughout the day, that I'm very mindful of who I'm being. And essentially, it really boils down to is stripping away self and focusing more on other people than yourself. And if you can just get to a place of, I heard my pastor say one day, is do things without expecting a thank you. And if you never got a thank you, would you be okay with it? That it really doesn't matter if my husband tells me thank you, if my daughter tells me thank you. It really doesn't matter about that. It just matters on, you know, my intentions and where am I coming from while I'm doing these things. If I'm doing it out of love, am I being a walking example of love? And if I'm not being a walking example while I'm doing something, then it makes me, be an unpleasant person to be around. And that's if I'm, any moms are watching this or dads that are watching this, and especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, I'm not knocking anybody else, but it could be a lot of things put on our plate, a lot of things we want to get accomplished throughout the day. And if we don't get those things accomplished and then we become frustrated or we're agitated or we're impatient, it's important that we take a step back, breathe, understand our why, and then we move forward in life. And that's essentially what I did, is that I was like, okay, my husband gave me some good feedback. Now, at that point, did I agree with the feedback? I don't know, but I chose not to be defensive. I chose not to say, well, if you would have been listening to me, I answered the question that you just asked me. That's in my mind, that's what I wanted to say. But I was quickened in my spirit to just be quiet and say thank you for the feedback, because he didn't have to give me that feedback. And so it's important that we focus on who we are being while we're doing, and just don't do stuff and not understand the motive, our intention, where we're coming from, the true transparency of the person that we are called to be. That's really at the core. It's better to come from a place of love and do something than to do something and come from a place of anger and frustration and being miserable or just being unloving. So I hope this open book of some feedback my husband gave me is a blessing to someone watching this video. The only reason why I share this is to inspire you to achieve hotness in, in areas of your life. And I just share who I am in hopes that I can at least touch one person by doing these videos. I thank you very much for the opportunity to continue to do the things that I'm able to do, and for you to just take time out to watch the videos that I put up. So from my heart to yours, thank you very much. Have a blessed day. And remember, being is just as important as doing. See you soon.